Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the sloped roof problem, which is really common in residential projects. From this drawing detail, for example, we can see eventually we have to calculate the bundles of shingles, the sheets of OSB. In this case, we're using trusses, but if we're not, then we'll have to calculate things like the length of rafters. Everything we talked about so far will be applied to a sloped surface. In the first half of the video, we're going to explain some of the technical maths. And you can see this right triangle with a 90-degree angle. One side is 5 and the other side is 12. If you think about this is sloped roof, we're looking at a slope of 5 over 12, rise over run. And our job is to calculate the sloped side. From the math formula, we know the relationship of three sides is a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. In order to get to c, what you need to do is to square on each of the two other sides and then add them up, then take the square root. Let's put this in the formula. Type equal and then square root. That's the first thing we're going to remember is the square root. With the opening bracket, we're going to take the first number, then square it. Remember that power operator we talked about in previous videos. And then do the same thing with other side. 2 means you are going to square the number. Close the bracket, then you should have 13. The implication of this calculation is now we are able to find out the relationship between a flat quantity and also a sloped quantity. For example, on the roof plan, what we can calculate is always the length times width, and then you get the area, but that's only the flat area. The actual area we're looking at is the sloped side. But remember, we have 5 and this is 12, this is 13, for example. What we're trying to determine is a factor for us to do the conversion. So, in other words, we're looking at the relationship between 13 and 12. So let's do the conversion factor. Essentially, you're taking your 13 divided by 12. That is the conversion factor we have. Let's calculate more conversion factors depending on the roof slope. To start, we're going to type 2 in 12. Now drag this down. We're looking at all kinds of roof slope now. What we need to do now is to put them under the rise and the run column. Try to separate the two. Yeah, type 2 and 3, and then drag this down. Type 12, and drag this down. Just like what we did on the other sheet, we're going to do the sloped side. Doing the same thing, square root SQRT, then square on each of the two other sides. Add them up, then take a square root. Drag this down. Now the conversion factor is just your sloped side over the flat side, which usually on the roof is always 12. This is all the conversion factor we'll be looking at. Now we're done with the table, so we can just hide those columns. Select the BCD, right click, then pick hide. What we really need is just the slope and also the conversion factor. However, we need those other columns in order to make the formulas work. So in this case, what do we do is first of all select both columns, right click on height. What you can do now is to select all the numbers, including the middle three columns. Go ahead and then do copy, but instead of paste, you will need to find something called paste values. So what you can do now is to delete BCD. All the numbers will stay. In the next video, we're going to show you how to use this table to do all the calculation we need, including the rafters or the sloped roof area. So stay tuned.